Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani. Welcome to StudyIQ, and this is the Hindu paper analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening PIB videos come, and please do not miss any of these lessons because they are carrying very important questions, MCQs we are discussing on a daily basis. Today it's the Sunday session, so very less data is available, and a very important topic of cyclones and anti-cyclones we are going to discuss here, and that's very crucial for this year's prelims because this cyclone phony is going on and all this devastation is going on. So this is the much highlighted topic of this year. So we will discuss that and some relaxation. Only 25 round minutes would be there for this lesson. So 5th of May this is, and these are the numbers there. You can call in, you can ask for these pen drive courses, and this is the website address where you can chat in the chat section and you can ask all your queries regarding all these important and updated courses. 60% off is also going on. Issue is there with the Gaza Strip in Israel. You see, Israel was created after World War II, and before that it was Palestine, and now Palestine is limited to this West Bank area and this Gaza Strip. In this Gaza Strip, Hamas is a group that is a dominant one, and it has its own forces and its own political setup there, and this area is very much sensitive. You see, it was decided after all these capturing all these wars throughout these decades and all, that these areas would be under Palestinian Authority. And you see, in this West Bank also there are area A, B and C, and under this C area of this West Bank's geography, 62% is the area, and that is under Israel's occupation. So in this West Bank also, Israel is practically ruling a lot of areas. Some important cities like Jericho, Hebron and Ramallah, these are very much famous. Okay, so these are in West Bank. This is Jerusalem. That is an important point from where 3 Abrahamic religions they started: Judaism, Christianity and Islam, as they understand it. So this is very crucial. This is one of the most controversial place on the earth, and this is Tel Aviv, the important city where all these embassies and all are located. And Trump recently created a controversy by calling it the previous embassy place, and new embassy place would be the Jerusalem. So this was the controversy, and because there is no embassy in Jerusalem, because it's a disputed territory and nobody wants to create a mess there, so Jerusalem was secluded from these political things. Now Trump has created controversy by saying these kind of things, and this is Golan Heights here. And regarding Golan Heights, we all know what Trump has said, that the 1981 annexation is a legitimate one and the world should recognize that, but that is not possible because after 67 war this was captured by Israel, and it was the actual territory of Syria, because it is Syria, it is touching the border here. So this is Golan Heights, and this is a green line, purple line, these are important areas. Now see, Hamas is targeting Israel at some places, and they actually launch their rockets and all, and you see these are the arsenal of this Hamas group. These are Hamas rockets, and they are targeting important cities of Israel. So Israel is always sensitive about these things, and it's a ever going issue. Whenever politics is there, whenever any kind of international issue is rising, then Israel is ready for all these attacks and all these issues. So always this area is disturbed in a sense. Now a kind of a stressful peace that remains always. Now from this Rafah and this Gaza city, they have launched all these rockets and all, and Israel has retaliated from here. So it's a sensitive issue, and you see Israel said around 200 rockets were fired from the Palestinian enclave, and the Gaza is being called as Palestinian enclave because it's a small place, a very narrow strip of land. So from here more than 200 rockets were fired, and air defense was also intercepted. A woman was injured in a strike in Israeli city of Kiryat. So these are developments, and it may escalate into a different kind of a bigger war. So that's very sensitive, and this whole area of West Asia, that is going under a lot of stress, and all these issues are really relevant here from the mains point of view, from the international relations issue, and from the prelims point of view both. Okay, so remember everything. You see, this is a Mediterranean Sea, and Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula is here, and that was also captured by Israel and again given back to Egypt. And this is Jordan, Dead Sea, Sea of Galilee, and all these border. And the Jordan River is also there, okay, on the border of it here. So these things are very, very important. Steering away from diesel. There is a reason that Maruti has decided regarding removing all these diesel vehicles from 2020, because the fuel vision of 2025, it talks about very crucial issues. If you see the data here, the sulfur emission from the diesel vehicles, Bharat stage norms are there, and now most of the vehicles are following this Bharat stage 4 norms, and we will skip for Bharat stage 5 and we will go straight towards BS 6 norms, and these are according to Euro 6 norms. Okay, so that is going on in European countries, which are most advanced countries in terms of all these application of environmentally efficient manners. So sulfur content is maximum with BS 1, and it is gonna decline with the upgradation, and BS 6 would only be with 10 ppm max of sulfur amount. So that means sulfur content would be totally gone from these engines, and the issue is that commercial vehicles are using diesel vehicles because diesel is cheaper. But nowadays this is not so cheaper, and the difference between the prices of petrol and diesel, they are very small. So you see, this is the issue of pricing per liter of oil. But if we go towards the money that is to be invested when we are going to upgrade these vehicles from BS 4 to 5, 5 to 6, although we are not going to upgrade it to 5, we will upgrade it to 6 directly according to the norms. So what would be the investment here? For the petrol vehicles, around 10,000 rupees additionally we have to give. For diesel vehicles, around 90,000 rupees we have to give, around 90,000 rupees. And for CNG vehicles, only around 10,000 rupees we have to give. So that means the upgradation is also very, very expensive here. So that is also a big reason that Maruti is going away from the diesel vehicles. And you see the issue where all kinds of their sales, their upgradation and everything is going to be affected, and people will not be interested in buying diesel vehicles because they are less efficient, more polluting, and the life of the vehicle is also very less. The life of the engine is also very less if we compare it with the petrol vehicle. Petrol is more purified fuel, and diesel is less purified than that. So that is the reason that we are moving away from the diesel, and the goal is to just end the diesel fuel from this world, because it is no more effective, and petrol is better than that. CNG we have, electric vehicles we have. So this is all our goal here. The FAME scheme is also going to be important because it is the next target for us, and the FAME schemes version 2.0 is going on, second version is going on. So it is regarding the electrical vehicles and their manufacturing. So all these solutions are on place, and India is going very fast towards achieving all these goals and all. Although some issues remain, but the infrastructural capabilities and all these active steps taking, that is going well. Okay, but more we need to do. Here it says pollution levels in major Indian cities have been consistently recorded well above permissible limits. This has prompted the government to leapfrog from BS 4 to BS 6 directly, skipping BS 5. And we decided about it 3 years back. So that's important. Next, IIT Delhi 3D prints human skin. As I told you, additive manufacturing, the 3D three-dimensional printing, there are machines for that, and you can see in the picture, this is the machine in IIT Delhi. They actually has simulated and created the natural skin with the 3D printer. You see, if we look at the anatomy of the skin, then it is epidermis. Whatever we see from the surface, from above, it is epidermis. So the color, whether it is going to be a white, black or brown, so it depends on the melanin level that is found in epidermis. And below that there is dermis, and all these sebaceous glands and these hair follicles and all, they are located here in the dermis and hypodermis. Hypodermis is below the dermis, and all these fat layers and all these are also present here, and these are blood vessels and all. So this is a particular structure. Why this is important? Because in a country like India, where brown people mainly are living, and they all want to become white, so for that particular reason, all these cosmetic companies and all, they are doing many trials on the mammals, because the similarities are there between you and cows, pigs, and other mammals. Okay, so I am very much similar to elephant in some senses, because we both are mammals. So these kind of things are opening an option that we can do all these testings on other mammals also. So these animals are targeted, but these poor animals, they do not have their voices, and they cannot complain about these things, because we are powerful, so we are subjugating them. So that is the issue. So the animal rights bodies, they have always been raising these issues that we are exploiting animals for our advantage, but we do not have any option, because we cannot do testing on humans. That's the problem. So here this problem is going to be solved by this important innovation, and the technology itself is the biggest help. As I always told you, for today's problems in this world, technology is the biggest solution, and technology is the biggest enemy for humans. And here you see they have created these two layers, like the inner dermis made up of fibroblast, and the outer epidermis is made up of keratinocytes or the melanocytes. So these two layers they have created, and it's a bioprinted skin, and it retained the original dimension without any shrinkage for up to 3 weeks. So traditionally, collagen used for developing skin constructs start shrinking within a few weeks, means it is much more efficient than the original one. So for the testing and for all these experimentations, it is going to be very helpful. So IIT Delhi has done that, and that's an excellent innovation. Next, IIT Kanpur identifies novel molecules to control hyperinflation. You see, in most of these informations, IITs, IAS, all these institutions are always making efforts, and great solutions they are giving. But it is very unfortunate that apart from these institutions, no other institution in this country, in this big country, in these state universities, all these colleges, we do not see any kind of innovation, we do not see any kind of informations. That's really unfortunate, I think, for a big country like India. What kind of ambience is there? That is the reason that the so-called competition, deadly competition is there after the 12th class, that all wants to get into IITs, because that is the reason, because they are the only helpful solution here, and no other institute is serious about these things. So that's really a big concern. Here IIT Kanpur identifies a novel molecule to control hyperinflammation. You see, whenever any kind of a foreign agent or foreign stimulus, foreign particle enters in our body, then our body's defense mechanism that starts this inflammation process, and you see we get itchings and all, and maybe sometimes when we are having a particular these acne or something like that, then what happens? Then the area becomes reddish. This is called inflammation, and this is done by our own body, so that the temperature rises at that place, all important molecules are released at that place, and they end the infection there. So these monocytes and neutrophils, they are doing the job. They will eat up these pathogens and all, and they will destroy it by destroying itself. So this is how it works. And sometimes in the body, in some autoimmune disease, the immunity of yours that attacks your own body, and in that case hyperinflammation that occurs. It may occur in some other cases also. It is the worst form of inflammation, where it is not controlled and it is not coming down, and the capacity of fighting with these pathogens and all, that is also lowered, and the tissues of the healthy body, they are also destroyed by this inflammation. So this becomes negatively impactful for our body also, not only for pathogen. And you see, it is less working on pathogen now, and it is more working on your body in the hyperinflammation stage. So maybe it may attack your organs, and sometimes in example of grave disease, where it attacks the thymus gland, the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is destroyed by the immunity of your own body. Your eyes may be attacked and all. So this hyperinflation stage is not good for your body. So here we need to control it sometimes. So IIT Kanpur identifies a novel molecule to control hyperinflammation, and that's a really great thing. And you see, they may ask you about these interleukins. What are these? These are important proteins which are attached to your cells, and in your processes they are used, and out of their responses only all these defense mechanisms, inflammations and all these signals, they are started and they are working in your body. So it's a hugely complex situation. You see, this is the tissue, this is the cell, and the cell membrane are there, and there are various various gates. These are chemical gates, and all these signals, all these proteins, they control these things, these movements of these particles and all these chemicals. So this is so specific a process. Every cell of your body is so specific. It's a great system in itself. So that is why always take care of your body, and this is a very important innovation, and IIT Kanpur has done that. Next, again important innovation, EndoBot. It is a low-cost solution to identify faults and stealthy connections where in our pipelines. So if any kind of leakage is there, any kind of fraud connection is, somebody is taken inserting their pipe into the main these supply pipelines and all. So IIT Madras researchers, they have invented this important robot, and this has cameras mounted on it, and it can go into these all pipelines and all. So that's a creative solution. And you see, you must have seen many videos, Russian videos on the YouTube channel where they are inserting some cameras into these boreholes and all. So they are always curious, and now these kind of thinking, they led to these kind of innovations by scientists. So that's a really effective way. Okay, and it captures videos and transmits a live feed to the base at the entry point. It also uses laser based techniques to examine the pipes as it moves, so it can examine that whether there is a very minute leakage or not. Next, arsenic. It's a very potent chemical for humans, and it can cause cancer in our body. So in eastern UP water in Punjab region, arsenic is found in the water bodies, and from the groundwater, not water bodies, in the groundwater. So that's really dangerous for us. But you see, life is so special. In hydro vents where lava is coming out of the ground on the sea bottoms, there also we have found bacteria. We have found bacteria in Mariana Trench, Japan Trench, Tonga Trench also, at so enormous pressure on the bottom. There also we have found lives. Now a specific life that breathes arsenic. These kind of specific microorganisms are identified in the Pacific Ocean. They are alive on arsenic. They can breathe on that. As we are breathing on oxygen, they are breathing on arsenic. So life is so special, and in Pacific Ocean this study was done. So they may ask you about the arsenic and its uses and its implications. So it may give life to some bacteria also. Now Karnataka limits weight of school bags. That's a very important thing. They have set a limit for these poor kids because it's a psychological impact. If since their childhood they are carrying so heavy baggages on their backs, so they never become free from their mind, they never become confident in their mind, and it is always observed psychologically that they are always stressed. They live a stressful life because a burden is always there on their mind, and it is a kind of a habit. It becomes in the later life that they are struggling with that. So by thinking this issue, and you see, the more digitized world is there, so the technology may help here a lot, and it is very much devastating for the environment also. We may need to cut many trees and all for that. So that's really negative in a sense by carrying these heavy baggages and all these notebooks and all. So now government has done that a bag of student in class 1 or 2 should weigh no more than 2 kgs. So only 2 kgs for the class 1 and 2. For class 2 and 3, class 3 to 5, only 2 to 3 kg baggage, and 4 to 5 kg range for the 9th and 10th class students. So it should not be more than that. Otherwise they will not become good students, they will become soldiers. Next, coronation of Thailand's Rama X begins. This Chakri Dynasty is there. He is the 10th Chakri monarch, King Vajiralongkorn, and it is in Bangkok, Thailand. And you see, in the ancient time, Thailand was called Siam, and it was a very important kingdom related to India also, where many Hindu dynasties were also there. And here you see, in Indonesia region, in the Thailand region, and all these countries, like in Cambodia, we have Angkor Wat Hindu temple, the biggest Hindu temple of the world. So the connection is very deep with India. So they may ask you about these Southeast nations and our ASEAN mission, and this King Vajiralongkorn and the Chakri Dynasty also. They may ask you about the Sri Vijaya Kingdom also, and the kings from the southern part of India in the ancient time. They were having many links with these countries and all. So these are important things you must revise before the prelims. Next, Apurvi Chandela and Anjum Modgil. These are the first two Indian shooters to win the quota for the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020. This quota places belonging to the country and not to the individual shooters who win them. But you see, this is really a proud moment that girls are seizing many opportunities way more than boys. And this year we have seen mostly girls there. If you talk about, we can take any name, and these are mostly girls, whether these are athletes, whether these are wrestlers and all. And in the Olympic also, Sakshi Malik won the medal, and India is really appreciating now, but a lot need to be done here. So they may ask you about these players also. Now a very important topic of cyclone. You see, when the temperature rises, air pressure comes down, and in these months like April and May, the temperature goes very high, and the peninsular part of India, it is below this Tropic of Cancer, means it's a tropical part, and the temperature, the rays, they are too much in this phase. And in some water bodies like this Bay of Bengal, it is surrounded from three sides by the land, and the land part, you all know that it becomes heated too much and too easily, because the particles cannot move, so it gets heated up consistently. So the temperature is too much in this area, and this whole heat is absorbed by the nearby ocean. So already it is capturing the heat, and the vertical rays of the sun, they are also disturbing this area. And at this particular time, there are almost vertical rays at this particular latitude. So the water evaporation, that happens a lot in amount, and air pressure comes down, and it achieves a stage where in the center, which is called eye of the cyclone, in the center the air pressure goes down nearly zero. So all the air around it that wants to fill this area in the center, so the whole air from all the sides, it starts moving around this eye of the cyclone, okay, in the center, and the direction is anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere. This is a very important question for the prelims this year. Anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and just opposite in the southern hemisphere. And if we talk about the anticyclones, then anticyclones direction is just opposite. Northern hemisphere, it is clockwise, and just opposite to the southern hemisphere. And you see, just remember, when we open the water tap, then the water comes down, and in the center there is maximum pressure, and it moves towards all the sides. So the same thing happens with anticyclones or anticyclones. And this cyclone is just opposite. In the center there is very less pressure. So tropical cyclones are very dangerous because of this temperature conditions and all these energies which are there. Why there is much energy? Because when the water changes state, it becomes water vapor from the liquid water. Then the lot of energy is released in this process. If we need to convert a water vapor into liquid water, then we need to give energy to it. Okay, we have to cool it down. So here the energy that is released, that is giving a lot of force to this particular cyclonic storm, and it becomes more and more dangerous. And the cumulonimbus clouds, these are vertical clouds. Vertical expansion is too much. They are there near the ground, and they will expand up to heights of 12 to 15 kilometers. So they are carrying a lot of water amount. A lot of hailstorms are also very much characteristic to this cumulonimbus clouds. So they bring a lot of rains in these coastal areas. So that is why tropical cyclones are very dangerous. Extra tropical cyclones, which are there in the temperate regions, these cyclones are there because of the difference in the air masses. Cold air masses are coming from the polar region, and warmer air masses are there in the from the tropical regions. So they are meeting, and they are creating these extra tropical cyclones. So they are not so dangerous, but these tropical cyclones are extremely dangerous, and mainly in these bodies which are surrounded by the land. So you see their impact. So this is Bay of Bengal, and the Gulf of Mexico is also there, southeast to America. So these kind of areas are always surrounded by what land parts. So there the severe conditions develop, that too much water evaporation and the temperature goes very high. So this is the issue of cyclones and anticyclones. When air is descending in the center, because there is a heavy pressure in the center, then it is called anticyclonic conditions. And when air is rising, these are called cyclonic conditions. So whenever there is hot area and high temperature, then the cyclonic condition would develop. And when there is too much of cold conditions and the area is very cool, then the air would come down and it would be anticyclonic conditions. Always remember that. At 30-degree latitude, which are called horse latitudes, there are anticyclonic conditions because the air is descending towards ground. So the pressure is there on the ground. So these are anticyclonic conditions. And from the equatorial regions, air is always rising towards the skies. So these are cyclonic conditions always. So this is all for today, and we will meet again tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani, and this is the only lesson today. Thanks a lot.